Bob Nightingale, I don't know if he's ever missed.
Oh, no, not Bob Nightingale.
I don't know if he's ever missed.
The curse of Bob.
I know. So he writes today, thank you, Talking Friars.
Who?
That while the Dodgers have been the heavy favorites to sign Sasaki for the past year, with some teams convinced he already made up his mind, the San Diego Padres have emerged as the new choice among executives. Whatever that means. That's Bob Nightingale today. The San Diego Padres have emerged as the new choice among executives. Now, did the executives know about the lawsuit? Does the lawsuit matter to Roki Sasaki? Is it a factor or not?
I would be hard pressed to say that it isn't something. I don't think it means nothing to the pursuit of Roki. He's choosing where he's going to be for the next 6 years minimum.
Mm-hmm.
This thing could last, the lawsuit, for at least 6 years potentially.
Imagine that.
And in that time, hard pressed to think that the Padres franchise is going to be doing everything they possibly can to make sure that they have a winner on the field. And by everything they possibly can, I mean, I don't know, spending money, making moves, maybe push the envelope a little bit here and there, because you kind of need to do that if you're in the position the Padres are in to maybe win a World Series. Like, pushing the envelope is the legacy of Peter. And I don't think this franchise, while it's under the current ownership, is going to be doing that.
So, okay. And that's basically what we've been saying the last 2 days. Well, why are executives saying this?
Now,
were they asked before the lawsuit, and that's their opinion? Has their opinion changed since the lawsuit? Why would executives be saying that Sasaki to the Padres is more likely than the Dodgers, as opposed to the media? Because the media has said the Dodgers are more likely than any other team. So what do the people on the inside know that the media maybe doesn't?
I think it really all is speculation at this point. Now, what is going to be kind of like that red flag, not red flag in a bad way, but red flag in like a type of way, is the international signing money that it was reported that a team that potentially will sign Roki will make moves to increase their international signing bonus money
come January 15th.
And also the inactivity with teams signing international players on January 15th will kind of know, in that window, whoever does spend probably is out, but whoever doesn't is going to be in. Now, it's being reported right now that the Dodgers, along with the Padres, have kind of put a hold on international signing money and international signings until at least January 25th to wait out the Roki Sasaki decision.
I think the Padres have put a hold on everything.
Well, they've put a hold on like the franchise.
Who reported that?
Marcos Grunfeld covers the Dodgers for the beatwriter.com.
Okay, so neither the Padres or the Dodgers are expected, once the international signing period opens, to make a splash outside of Sasaki.
He reports the Dodgers are pushing back their international amateur signings to January 25th as they are awaiting the Sasaki decision, the source says. He also commented to somebody asking, is there any other teams attempting to do the same? And he replied, yes, the Padres.
Interesting. Okay, so, I mean, maybe the more things change, the more they stay the same. Maybe at the end of the day, it'll be a two-horse race. Who reported a mystery team today?
Jon Morosi.
Jon Morosi says, by the way, apparently Sasaki has met with at least one other team other than the quote-unquote Big Seven. Mm-hmm. Padres, Dodgers, Cubs, Rangers, Giants, Yankees, Mets. How about that? Oh. So there were 7 that he reportedly met with in Los Angeles. Maybe there's an 8th per Jon Morosi, but maybe the more things change, maybe they're just staying the same. I mean, at the end of the day, how impactful is it on Sasaki or not? It's really on the representation for Sasaki to make that determination. Joel Wolf's client is Roki Sasaki. Mm-hmm. Any good agent should make a good recommendation. So is there something here that should be concerning to his client or not? Maybe there isn't. It's not the first lawsuit in baseball history.
No, it's not.
Dodgers dealt with this a decade ago.
But the Dodgers also a decade ago in the McCourt era didn't win.
Yeah, and it's certainly quote unquote paralyzed them for a period of time.
Yep.
Yeah.
And I could argue, along with on the field, from just like a PR and a vibe standpoint, more PR than anything, landing Roki Sasaki would do wonders for what's happening inside the organization right now behind closed doors. And by what I mean is it will take the focus off of that and put it on to Roki.
The Padres need it way more. This is like the 15-1 Chiefs playing with a backup quarterback against the Broncos. They need to win to get in. Yeah, I mean, the Broncos had to win. The Chiefs didn't.
Oh, yeah.
The Padres have to land them. The Dodgers don't. They're fine without them, LA. I mean, more than fine. They're the World Series favorite with them. They're the World Series favorite without them. The Padres don't land them. Where do they even turn?
I don't know where they go if they don't land Roki.
Let me give you a hypothetical real quick, because I agree with you. 95% of Padres fans are Team Sheel, right? Let's just say that. Maybe it's
probably more than that.
But let's just say it's easy to say 95. That's fair. That's everyone.
Yep.
Let me give you a hypothetical. He signs with an organization that is not the Padres. It could be anyone, Dodgers, Rangers, whomever. And during the introductory press conference, when asked about his choices and candidates, he says, it came down to this team that I signed with and the San Diego Padres. And one of the reasons why I went here was because of the uncertain future of the Padres.
I don't think he would say that.
I don't know. It's not that crazy.
But if he were to say, I chose here because of the stability of the franchise and the ownership, which I love the owner,
that would
immediately go to what the hell?
Would that change public opinion on the lawsuit? See what I'm saying? Because everyone's Team Sheel. And I agree with that team, by the way. I mean, if I'm just being honest, if I'm being honest, that's my opinion too. I don't know all the facts, so I'm going to reserve some judgment, but I'm Team Sheel. You're Team Sheel, by and large.
Yep.
Could it change in a scenario where, to your point, he says, I chose the Texas Rangers because it's the most stable franchise in baseball, and some of my other options didn't present that same stability and desire to win.
So what you're saying is, like, if this lawsuit never came out, potentially,
does it change the fortune of what happens with them and Roki? Because we don't know that. Because me and you yesterday were like, hey, now that there's this lawsuit, they're not going to get him. I mean, we don't know that, but that's where your mind wanders, that this lawsuit somehow could get in the way of that. Do we think that's true? Could this lawsuit, it's not Sheel's fault. I'm not saying it's her fault, but I'm saying, could this lawsuit get in the way?
What is more important to the future of this franchise?
The right ownership.
Yeah. So there's no right time to do this lawsuit. But the most important thing is the future ownership group of this franchise going forward. Roki Sasaki might be collateral damage, and that's a bummer because they need him badly. And the on-field stuff, I see in our chat, and this person makes a great point that by and large, the players are not going to be thinking on a day-to-day basis about who the owner of the franchise is. They are paid to play baseball, and their everyday operations, by and large, doesn't have anything to do with who the owner is, or the infighting, or the lawsuits, or anything.
You're not going to hit in the cage more,
no,
because you have a stable ownership group,
right? But where it does affect the team is in that front office and their ability to go make moves to help the on-field product, and that over time could turn into this team being a bad team again,
right?
Maybe quicker than expected. So not landing Roki because of this would destroy the front office that has been working so hard to try to land Roki. But it's not as important as who is the owner of this franchise. It's not as important as the now battle between Sheel and the Seidler brothers.
I agree, but it still hurts the same. It's kind of like when Tatis was suspended. If you would have told me on the other side he'd be quote unquote better off for it, like kind of lose the battle, win the war, I think it's where Tatis is right now. I think he's changed as a player. I think he's learned from the overall experiences he went through as a young person. It was very public facing. He's like a 20-year-old that's playing out in front of everyone. When me and you are 20, we can get away with mistakes that Fernando Tatis Jr. couldn't get away with.
Right. I'm not making hundreds of millions of dollars.
But I feel like maybe he has learned from some of that, and maybe it's been beneficial to him and even the franchise. But in the moment, when you learn of the wrist breaking because of lying about the accident, and then you learn about the PED suspension, that really hurt. It was hard to see the forest through the trees in the moment. Now, on the other side of it, we think Fernando Tatis Jr. has a chance to have a really productive career, obviously, as a Padre. Maybe same thing. It's like, if you lose Sasaki, to me, it's going to hurt like hell. And it's going to be hard to envision, well, you know what? It's just one move. It's just a short-term issue. But maybe the Padres will be better off 1, 2, 3 years from now based on what happens with their ownership. But that's still tough for me, man. If I see the news from Jeff Passan on January 21st, he signed with the Rangers, any of these teams, it all sucks. I mean, the Dodgers is the worst, but any of these teams, it's going to be super disappointing.
Jeff in the chat on YouTube, by the way, if you're watching us on YouTube, thank you. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button as well. He says, for everyone who's on Team Sheel, if Sasaki ends up going elsewhere, how many will turn on her and, quote, blame her for doing this lawsuit now?
That was my point.
And connect it with losing out on Roki. Will she be blamed?
That's my question. I mean, I don't think it's fair.
I don't think it is either. And as I pointed out, Roki is very important, but nothing is more important than
stable ownership.
Exactly. The future of this franchise in that ownership seat, the control person of this team. You land Roki, that's great. But what over the next 6 years during this lawsuit, the team continues to go downhill and downhill, and then landing Roki will mean nothing.
This is fascinating because I'm just thinking back now in my head about what AJ said at Seidler's memorial, and I'm picturing Yu Darvish and his wife lay down flowers on the steps at Petco Park, and I'm just thinking, like someone just said, it's true. Yu Darvish's bullpen has no impact on the ownership.
No,
but like Jackson Merrill is like liking Instagram posts supporting Sheel Seidler.
Yeah.
Now again, that's fine. I have no issue with it, but to pretend like these people aren't human beings is not accurate. We're all humans, and we can pretend like something doesn't impact us. I'll give you an example. Like if we work at a company that isn't stable, I'm serious. I mean, if there's something playing out in, let's say we work in economic conditions where advertising is, there's a recession, so it impacts our ability to potentially work. Or let's say it's better economic conditions, or you get the point. Let's say you work for a company that might be going through an ownership change or a bankruptcy. Like it changes the way you pursue your work. So yes, I don't think it impacts Manny Machado's work in the cage. I don't think it impacts Ruben Diablo working with Yu Darvish, but everything is tied together.
Bosses matter, dude. They matter. And when you have instability in that seat, it matters. And it's a trickle-down effect. It just is. Like, again, I've talked about this. Name me a franchise that has recently won at a high clip with instability in that chair. I'll wait.
I don't know. I mean, someone would have to take me through the whole drama with the buses in Los Angeles.
Now, they did win a championship in 2020.
But that was after that all played out, right?
I believe so.
Yeah, it was definitely after. Genie was running the franchise well before that.
Again, I don't know the details of every single franchise in professional sports and their ownership issues. But like, I mean, again, do the Chiefs right now have problems in their ownership group? Who's the best team in the NBA right now?
I mean, last 10 years,
do the Celtics
would be there.
Do the Celtics have problems in their ownership group? Do the Warriors have problems in their ownership group? No.